to Manchester for the 2015 Party Poker World Pool Masters, one of the most coveted titles in pool. Our venue is the Victoria Warehouse. The quarterfinals are shaping up nicely. Defending champion Shane Van Boning is safely through, along with former champion Niels Feijen and Qatari Walid Majid from the top half of the draw. But there was a big surprise as local favourite Carl Boyes lapsed in concentration. That saw him go out to Chinese sensation Lu Haitao, 8-7. In the bottom half of the draw, there was a little more home cheer as both Mark Gray and Darren Appleton comfortably progressed into the last 8. Next up, it's the German legend Ralf Souquet against Nikos Ekonomopoulos, last year's defeated finalist. The winner takes on Gray.
My best for my career was that I played 2 times Mosconi Cup and I won with Europe team. I was very happy because it's very nice to place with the best players of Europe. The distance is very short, it's a race to 8 winner break. I will try to be focused from the beginning, to concentrate, and I will try to do the best.
I won more or less everything existing, but I think the real big highlight was to win the World Games 2009 in Kaohsiung. Playing Nikos Ekonomopoulos, he's a good friend of mine, and my last appearance in the World Pool Masters was against him 2 years ago, and he beat me in the first round. So I'm not saying I'm looking forward to revenge, but obviously I hope for a better result this time.
So another terrific match in store, and Ekonomopoulos started well by winning the lag, but loose play then allowed the German to take the opening 2 frames. We're joining this match in the third, Souquet at the table, a quarter of the way to victory.
Two balls down. You can see the 2 ball.
Celebrates his 47th birthday, does Ralph, in late November. But the shelf life of a pool player is a little more extended than that of a snooker player. Recently, Efren Reyes won a tournament over in the USA at the age of 60.
That's a great safety. What a reply from Nick Ekonomopoulos.
Just had the faintest of double kisses, and that did his bidding. And we keep repeating, but that's how quickly the tables can turn in 9-ball. Don't go in off. That would have been cruel.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't left a shot. Ekonomopoulos has really only been on the scene for 3 years. But he's really made the most of his time. He's been a pool player since the late 1990s, actually, and Tried to qualify for the World Pool Championships in 1999 and 2000. But he kind of got sidetracked in 2004 and bought a pool hall in Athens, and business was so good that he was living the good life, as the Greeks can do. And he didn't want to go out of the country because he was... So Nikos Ekonomopoulos worked his pool hall and stayed close to home and lived the good life, partied and drank, gambled, everything. And he said he didn't want to go play. But then when the crisis hit, and you talked about this earlier, Phil, the crisis, the business went down, and Nick decided life was boring. It was time to take a chance. And he took that chance. And boy, the pool world is sure glad he did, because he's had a tremendous 3 years. And what a talent he is.
Now, if that face is familiar to you, that's Mikey North, who plays Gary on Coronation Street. And they say that pool is a soap opera. Well, there's no more famous a soap opera in this country than Down on the Street, which of course is filmed right here in Manchester. Plays an ex-army man, does Mikey North. Came back into civilian life, got into a few scrapes. Now on the straight and narrow, though. Not that I watched the programme.
Obviously not. And getting back to Nick's life and his career, this is a guy who found opportunity in crisis, rather than complain and moan that his world had been taken away from him by mismanagement of his leaders, as some people are wont to do. Nick took the bull by the horns and said, I'm going to make something of my life during this crisis. And he went out into the professional pool world and said, I'm going to give myself 2 years to see if I can make it. And boy, has he done a great job.
And he's done a great job in the third rack. He's taken it just when he needed it. Ralf Souquet, you don't want to give him too much leeway. 3-0, it would have been a crisis for Ekonomopoulos. Now, though, at 2-1, breaking off in rack 4.
That was a good rack for Nick. He's very much back in this match after 2 mistakes in the first 2 racks. Let's see if he can get the break shot going, because he's known for a good break. He hammered that rack. Did get a ball down.
Yes, he doesn't spare the horses, does he, when he goes into the balls like that? He first popped up on the major international stage in 2009 when he was runner-up in the European 8-Ball Championship. But as Ted rightly said, it's only in the last 3 or 4 years he's been making real strides.
That's a nice shot. Well, he won a Euro Tour event when he decided to finally do something after the crisis hit. And he needed to change his life and make something happen. He won a Euro Tour event, and then Darren Appleton came up to him and said, you have a chance to get on the Mosconi Cup, and this was 2012. And he went to the World 9-Ball Championship without a spot in Doha, Qatar, the toughest qualifiers in pool. 128 players trying to get like 5 or 6 spots. And he won one of the qualifiers, and he made it to the final 16, and he lost in the final 16 to Darren Appleton. And I remember that match. It was an epic battle. And that was when he first came on the radar of serious pool fans. He had the bad cueing there.
It was, there's no doubt about it, that was awkward. But even so, I think it was something of a shock the red 3-ball didn't go in. These two, of course, playing for the right to meet Mark Gray in the quarterfinals. Gray having come through 8-5 against Copigny in round 1.
Mark Gray showing excellent form, tough, workmanlike performance in his victory over Copigny.
Not a bad kiss. I think the orange 5-ball, though, just caught a finger mark there and deviated slightly to the right, which makes the shot a little more difficult than perhaps it should have been.
Notice how Ralf, he literally walked around the entire table. He is very meticulous in his preparation.
I think in many respects the shot clock does him a favour because
absolutely
it makes his mind up.
Well, Ralph's the kind of player, if there is no shot clock, he will take a long time. He's not the fastest player, and this happens a lot with players that are slow players in pool. That you're right, they play worse when there is no shot clock. So the shot clock forces them to make up their mind. And it gets the players in a rhythm.
Nothing worse than slow play in cue sports to dampen it down. In a recent snooker tournament, we had a best-of-7 frame match that lasted 4 hours and 47 minutes total playing time, and that's far too excessive.
So off the miss, 3-ball, tough cueing position for Ekonomopoulos. Souquet answers with a clear. He's now up 3-1. Yeah, a lot of the players are students of this break. It's a bit of a science, and there's often quack theories as well around breaking. And if you see a ½ millimeter gap between the one ball and the ball beneath it, then the balls below it are going to go a certain way. And some guys take it really seriously. Other guys just get up and hit it.
Well, there, Souquet's inspection of the rack proved fruitful. The 1 in, the 2 in, and a shot on the 3 as well.
For most of the players, actually, when they check that rack, it's just sort of part of their pre-shot routine.
He's such a solid citizen, Souquet. When he gets into this kind of situation, you almost mentally give the rack away.
Even with the 30-second shot clock, he is measured and meticulous, and it can be maddening for his opponent. Because when this guy is on, Ralf Souquet, he can strangle you, but slowly, sort of the way like a boa constrictor would slowly wrap its body around you and take control. That's how he takes control of the matches, just little by little.
Time extension.
I mean, is that the nickname, the surgeon? Is that surgeons are considered meticulous? Is that what that relates to?
Well, I think the very nature of their profession, they have to be perfectionists, don't they?
Yeah. And Ralf is a perfectionist. He will tell you that about every aspect of his life. When you go to his house, everything has to be in order. His goal in pool is to play absolutely 100% perfect. He knows it's nigh impossible to play 100% perfect, but that's his goal.
And our colleague Jim White tells me a story about how precise his travel plans are and the way he conducts his diary. Doesn't live on the wing, I can tell you.
You see that? I mean, a lot of players would just, you got 2 balls on the table, it's a pretty elementary layout, would just get down and shoot it. But Ralf actually comes, takes the time, walks around the table, looks at the shot, and he has meticulously grabbed a hold of this match. 4-1 in favor of the legend, Ralf Souquet. Nikos Ekonomopoulos right now, just a spectator. Is it the 9-ball? Oh, the 9-ball tracked towards the corner pocket. He's got the blue 2 down, and he's got a shot on the 1. So he's looking at perhaps looking at that red 3, which pocket he's going to take that in.
Well, that was very, very unexpected. I think he anticipated that the cue ball would come off the side cushion at more of an angle than it did. It actually squared up and went in behind the 6.
He wasn't expecting to play safe here.
Time extension.
Well, this is the typical moment to take a time extension, one where maximum thinking time is required. Now there is John Morra, defeated in the first match of the tournament. Acquitted himself well, but was beaten 8-6 by the defending champion Shane Van Boning after leading 6-5.
Oh, he did a great job of getting out, and I think that Nick can see that 3-ball, but this is a tester. But down 4-1, and knowing Nick, he's going for this one.
Time extension.
He likes to take on these kinds of shots. Phil, he took a long time to shoot that.
Now the little flick off the 9-ball with the 3. Has it flicked enough for Souquet to be able to pot it?
He just seemed to take a longer than I've ever seen him over a ball. They just seem to be way too long, and he just never could get comfortable.
Imparting lots of left-hand side to try and flick the red 3 ball in, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. There wasn't room.
Well, that's a lucky break for Ekonomopoulos to be able to get back up to the table. That's the stroke. So after the 5 here, he's looking at a 6-7 combination.
At 4-1 down, he needed something good to happen.
Needs the position. That'll work.
Ted was bang on when he didn't leave the 3. He was fortunate. There's no doubt about it. And those kind of marginal rolls make a critical difference. That wasn't the best though. The cue ball much too close to this top cushion for comfort.
Certainly this is his best rack of the match. Just in time to get him back in it.
I was very impressed with the 8 ball. He was under a lot of pressure there, knocked it in sweet as a nut. And so although Ralf Souquet continues to lead, Nikos Ekonomopoulos has frame 6 on the board. 4-2 the scoreline right now. Welcome back to the World Pool Masters and a battle between Greece and Germany.
Oh no.
Fast roll.
And that's not the way to get on a roll, by seeing the cue ball roll in the side pocket. And I think that's his own fault, Phil. Yep. That is a very poor break. You want to control that cue ball.
Any commentator should always try and avoid repetition, we know that, but I think it's a point worth making again and again. So often we see a player win what seems to be a potentially turning point rack and then they go and break off and scratch. It's been going on throughout the tournament from match 1, unceasingly. Oh, that's class. That is class.
Well, in pool today, a lot of tournaments, you will see that magic rack template racking. Looks like a plastic Christmas tree that they put on the table. And that's where you tend to see the players putting racks together, because when the balls are always racked the same, if a player can figure out how the balls are breaking, from there it's just a matter of connect the dots, and every time it's the same thing. But in this event, see, there's no pattern racking like that. There's no, it's just right in the wooden triangle. Obviously the 1 is at the top and the 9 in the middle. All the other balls are random. So we may not see guys put 4 and 5 together.
Whatever the environment, whatever the restrictions, whatever the format, it's certainly appealing to Ralf Souquet at the moment.
He's shooting well, isn't he? And he's limiting his mistakes. 5-2. Ralf Souquet on his way to the magic number of 8. Winner break. So Ralf with a good opportunity to take total control. And there you see, you know, you want to bring that cue ball over to the side with that cut break, but you want it to hit the side rail, bounce back off into the middle of the table, not into the side pocket. You just have to limit your mistakes at this level in a race to 8. That's 3 big errors from Ekonomopoulos, and it's cost him dearly.
Well, initially that didn't look to be the best break, but he's got a shot on the 1 as Souquet, albeit from lengthy distance. The 9 close to a cushion, but it's in the open, and I think there's a natural 4-5 combination as well. I wouldn't say that Souquet is renowned for the accuracy of his potting from distance, but he's no slouch in that department.
Oh, I've seen Ralf make shots like this in intense situations. When he reached the finals of the 2006 World 9-Ball Championship in Manila in the semifinals, it was a tight match. He made a shot just like this that propelled him into the finals, and the pressure was insane. Well, he didn't come close there. I mean, not even close.
As you get older in Q Sports, distance play, whether it be potting or safety, becomes a little more difficult. And there he absolutely butchered that 1 ball, caught it grossly thick. And he's very fortunate actually that the 1 ball has come so close to the top cushion.
Oh, no. He tried to feather the ball in the corner. He didn't want to play safe. He needed to make something happen. That is typical Nick. It serves him well sometimes. Go on the offensive. Take the risk, because there's no reward if you don't take a risk. But this is what happens sometimes. It is just not his day.
Giving Ralf Souquet ball in hand is like taking the abominable snowman to the South Pole. He loves it.
Ralph's going to Take his sweet time right now. That's just only going to make it sting that much more for Nick. Well, look at that. That was very crafty. Not only did he make the ball, he played it perfectly to get position on the 4.
Souquet has a thirst for excellence. Couldn't be more dedicated. Look at his sporting heroes. Michael Schumacher, Steffi Graf, Sebastian Vettel. All of them focused and right at the top of the tree for many years. Formidable characters, as is he.
When you look at Ralph's resume, his CV, it just goes on and on and on. And you know, we watch enough pool, Phil. It's so hard to win a tournament. It's an astounding accomplishment what he's done in his career.
Well, you see so many super talented players who are flash who win nothing. He's not flash, he's the antithesis of that. But he just gets the job done. End of story.
Oh, this is top class stuff right here from Ralf Souquet. Your opponent makes a mistake, you pounce. He goes up 6-2. It's the Ralf Souquet show here in round 1 of the Party Poker World Pool Masters, Manchester, England. This is about as good as it gets in pool. Spectacular setup here. That's befitting this spectacular lineup we have in the 2015 World Pool Masters. Watch out for that cue ball. And that's a scratch. This is it. This is the moment that he must do something. If he doesn't get it done here, Nick, I think he can kiss his chances goodbye.
And it seems, Ted, no one is immune to that curse of the cue ball. Just when you think someone's dominating, in it goes, off the break.
At every match in this year's Masters, that's exactly what's happened.
In situations like this, as Ekonomopoulos weighs up the 2-8 combination, you have to draw on any positives you possibly can. And of course, in the first round, the corresponding stage of last year's tournament in Nottingham, Ekonomopoulos beat another fine German player, Torsten Hohmann. Can he complete the German double? (6-2) looks a very wide deficit, but it can be easily and quickly eroded.
Well, he can't look at the score line right now. He's got to stay focused one shot at a time. Well, that went a bit too far. He should be able to get this, though. He's got to close the deal here, Phil.
And I'm convinced he will.
Stay in the moment. Don't think about what was, because what was is pretty ugly. Don't think about what might be. 6-3. Nikos Ekonomopoulos gets one back after the scratch from Ralf Souquet.
Yes, coming up dry on the break isn't too clever. Scratching on the break is downright destructive. So was that just a brief interruption to Ralf Souquet's dominance, or the start of a sustained Ekonomopoulos recovery?
That's a big disappointment for Nikos. Not only did he come up empty on the break, he left a wide open shot on the 1, the 2's there, the 3, the 4, everything.
Yes, the 5 is close to the 9, but I think it still pots to this top right-hand pocket. Souquet just making sure that's the case. And if it does, what a lovely table for him. One thing we can say without fear or favour, Ted, in all of the first round matches, no one has conquered the break. Success, yes, but it's been intermittent. Even that break building or breaking maestro, Ko Pin-Yi, started off really well, but fizzled.
This is all laid out just perfect for Ralf. Was he meticulous? He studied the 4 ball before the 3 ball. And in his mind, had it planned exactly where he wanted to leave that cue ball. See, watch, he'll look at the 5 ball. Now go back and shoot the 4.
Well, I think the original intention was to knock the 5 ball into the pocket he's going to knock the 4 into, but now he's got a little bit too much angle on the 4, so thinking about the 5 into the right-hand middle as we look at the table.
Well, the road map is clear now. It's just shooting beautifully.
In pool, it's called a race to 8. The snooker terminology is best of 15. And right now, Ralf Souquet is quickly zoning in on a 7-3 lead, which would mean that we have a potential 5 racks left. And Nikos Ekonomopoulos would have to win every single one of them. A daunting prospect against anyone, let alone against Souquet.
And still, even though he's done this shot 1 million times, probably 2 million times, from the 8 to the 9, Ralf will make sure he's got every angle covered.
Ralf Souquet, the German with the glittering CV in the world of pool. And tonight he's showing us exactly why. He's a veteran in the game, there's no doubt about that. He oozes experience. And tonight he's oozed confidence. And he leads Nikos Ekonomopoulos 7-3.
Oh, this is some break. Well, this goes against what's been happening. We would expect, based upon previous matches, that he would have scratched or had a bad break. But Ralf Souquet clearly in the driver's seat.
And that's the kind of break where your opponent starts making travel arrangements.
Yeah, Nikos is going to be in the driver's seat on the way home. Well, this has to be a massive disappointment for him, because last year he very nearly won this tournament. And he played so brilliantly throughout the event.
Unlike in the worlds of economics and politics right now, it doesn't look as though a German is going to offer a Greek a bailout.
That's one of your better ones, Phil. That was good.
Time extension.
Well, I studied economics and politics at university an eon ago, and I think that's the first time I've ever used it.
I'm sure your parents are happy that your education went to, well, that money they spent went to good use there, Phil. Took you a few years to finally use it.
Graduated in '83, finally, 32 years later. A little bit of knowledge seeps out. But all joking aside, hasn't he been good, Souquet? Ekonomopoulos hasn't been. He's been below par. But Souquet has been ruthless. Just as you'd expect.
Well, he is the 6-time Whirlpool Masters champion. Nobody else has won more than 2 over the 22-year history of this event. So clearly, Ralf very comfortable in this environment.
He'd love to get back into the Mosconi Cup team in December. Winning this title might help his cause. He's not won the title, but he has won his first round match against a very tough opponent in Nikos Ekonomopoulos. Ralf Souquet, convincing, delighted. 8-3 the scoreline, and Mark Gray awaits in the quarterfinals.
First match in the tournament is always tough, no matter who you play. And I think I did quite well. Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of mistakes off the break, so I didn't break that well. But altogether, I made some good kick shots. I ran out when I had to, and overall, I'm quite happy with my performance.
Probably the most convincing performance by anyone so far. Souquet joins Darren Appleton and Mark Gray in the quarterfinals. Next time, it's the closing round 1 match featuring Johnny Archer against James Georgiadis. Until then, it's goodbye from Manchester.